We're so good at this. Hey, moms and dads, we wanted to get you some information for the month ahead, but I figure any time that we're going to get to talk with you, we want to talk about a couple of things first that we think are just really important. The vision of why we do things with middle schoolers and high schoolers, and frankly elementary and preschoolers too, is we want to connect with kids, partner with parents, and help families do life with Jesus. And then beyond that, we want to think with the end in mind. We want to start with the end. What are the things that we want to be true by the time a kiddo goes all the way through kids' life and youth life as we partner with you?
Okay, some of those things revolve around the words know, be, and do. And so the first thing is we just desire that us and your kids would know God, who He is, what He does, what He's like, and what His Word says about Him.
We also desire that they would experience being with Jesus, and that they would experience, and we also would experience our lives being changed by the Spirit's presence in our lives.
And third, that they would do their lives without division between sacred and secular, in relationship through biblical community, and then living on mission both within our body and in the world in which they live. And parents, we just want to say over and over again, till you're tired of us saying it, that we feel like our place is to come alongside you. As you take the lead as chief disciplers, we want to come alongside you in that. So just practically, some of the ways that we feel like we can best do that with you are
youth life small groups, discipling relationships that are through your small group, youth life large group meetings, discipling relationships throughout the larger church body, and parent equipping and resources, which will come through emails, videos, and links to other resources that don't come directly from us.
So let's talk about some of just where we're headed from here on out. Obviously, I think everyone is kind of taking things 1 month at a time, so we are too. And for the month of June, the first 2 weeks we are still going to be on Zoom, and starting next week, this Wednesday, we're going to do a big youth group gathering on Zoom, and we'd really appreciate it, even if your kid hates Zoom, that you would just encourage them to join us there, because it's just going to be a time, kind of a rallying point, come back together, see each other, meet some new 7th graders and new leaders. And then the second week we're going to be on Zoom again, but splitting up guys and girls, and just really take some time to get to know each other again, kind of across ages, but in a bit smaller setting, so that we can just spend some time together before we break up into smaller groups for the rest of the summer.
And now for weeks 3 and 4, drum roll please, we are going to do small group live on weeks 3 and 4, in person with people that you can reach out and, but not touch because social distancing. But so weeks 3 and 4, what we're going to say to our small group leaders is we're going to ask them to set those up. If there's no scheduling concerns with anybody, we're going to recommend Wednesday nights still. But if there's anybody in the group or with the leader that where it would work easier for another night of the week, we're also trying to provide flexibility for that as well. Those will be outside, hopefully in backyards or big front porches. And in the case of rain, at least for the month of June, those small groups would transition to Zoom, or they would have the option of rescheduling to another night that has a little bit better weather. So one of the things that means is we're looking for some parents to host some of our small groups, which parents, I think this is a unique and really great opportunity to not be on point to lead the group, but to just get to be around and get to be in the mix as much or as little as you want. It could be just you open your door and let them, not open your door, you open your back gate and let them just hang out in your yard, or you can be in the mix and getting to know them, which we would definitely encourage.
And we know that the idea of meeting in person is going to be received so differently across different spectrums. We know for some of you, you've been thinking where has this been? And for some of you, you're freaking out and kind of wondering are we really thinking this through? Are we being rash? And so we want you to know that we hear both of you, and we're trying to take specific protocols and precautions to be as safe as possible. So one of those is being outside. Another one is that we are going to be, strict is a strong word, but very firm and strongly encouraging and mandating some social distancing things, each student having their own specific seat, like a lawn chair or a towel, where we can really designate a space for them to be. I think that'll be very helpful for our middle school boys group. If we can really lock them into a space, I think we can regulate that a little bit better, hopefully. But we want you to know that we are really taking these protocol seriously. We want this to be an opportunity for us to love each other well, to care for each other well by serving each other and at times denying what we might desire or want or think is best ourselves, and put each other first and do what's best for each other, and take this opportunity to demonstrate the love of Christ to each other in this way.
So we just want to talk some about what small groups actually are, what that has looked like in the last couple months, and what we hope it to be in the next couple months. First, we are just giving a lot more flexibility to our leaders and really encouraging them to ask Jesus what he has for them and their group. And part of that looks like we're asking kind of 3 out of the 4 weeks that they really spend time pursuing Jesus together with their kids, asking them questions about what's going on in their lives and pursuing their hearts on different issues, as well as spending time in his word together and just poring over it and asking his spirit to help us to know him more through his word, and just seeing more of who he is and how his reality changes our day-to-day lives. And then one of the weeks we are kind of just saying free for all, like do something fun with your group, play a game together, hang out, just spend time enjoying each other's presence. And so that's kind of what small group has looked like and what we hope it to continue to look like.
Okay, so as with everything that we've been doing and trying, we realize that there are some hurdles that this may bring up, and some logistics that we need to figure out as well. And we're taking the stance at the moment of we've tried to think through as much as we can, but there's a reality that what we could end up doing is trying to like figure out every possible scenario and every possible situation, and that's just not probably a good reality or a place for us to spend our time. So what that means though is we want to invite your feedback, and especially your tried feedback. So what I mean by that is like, if there's things that initially hit you in what we're saying about June, then let's talk about those. But I would even beyond that encourage you to go with the space for a couple of times. Like let's try June, and then let's do some really good feedback together. And if things are stirring in you, what I'm saying is we want to hear those. And TJ said it well the other day. He said, like, one option is just be like, I'm not doing it then. We're not going to participate in that. Or another option is just go with it, even though like inside you're dying a little bit because you're super uncomfortable. But we would say, hey, let's do the third option together, which is let's just have a conversation. I say to Gabby and TJ all the time, like, listen, if there's stuff coming up, let's not suffer in silence. Let's talk about it. So that's what we want to invite you as you hear the things we're going to try. We want to talk about it. I also want us to just be straight up with where our heads are at. Like, I think in this, we have to ask the question, are we trying this thing because it's a response to the coronavirus? Or are we trying this thing because the longer we wonder, and through these couple months of having time to have space to think, we wonder if maybe that would be something we want to step to more regularly. And I would say that we're figuring that out. But one thing I feel like that is less of a corona space and more of a, you know what, I think I'd like us to pursue that together, is meeting in homes together for our small group times, and being consistent and serious about the frequency in which those happen. And I think another thing that we're talking about and considering, and again, I want to detach it from coronavirus, other than coronavirus has given us the space to think about it, but also say to you, we haven't 100% landed, so we're kind of in this fuzzy space. We're learning, as we say a lot, we're learning and trying to figure this out. But large group is another one of those that we're talking about. What would it look like to rework that, both in venue, and I'm not saying we want to move it to Zoom, but in venue of when do we do the large group gathering, and also in frequency, like how often do we do that, and considering as well, what are we asking of you as parents? How do we lean into encouraging family space versus taking from family spaces, and also considering our leaders as well, like how many things are we asking them? So these are all the things in the mix. We haven't landed for sure on some definites, but again, I want to say, like, we are starting to try to think about how do we separate, is this just a response to Corona, or is this something we'd like to keep pursuing? And for sure, the small group spaces in homes, and beginning to think about what's the frequency and how do we do and what do we do at small group gatherings that might look different in the future. So let's talk about how we communicate with you and also how you can ask us some questions.
So, speaking of communicating, we'll be communicating lots over the next few weeks and months as things are shifting and changing. A big thing we'll be communicating is how we're going to address phasing large group meetings back in and what they're going to look like, and how we're going to try and bring people together when that is safe and responsible, and as we try and rethink what we want to accomplish in those times. Ways that we communicate are a NextGen email that will come out weekly on Friday-ish. Usually
Right,
Friday.
when we have it done on time.
Yeah, Friday-ish at best. Then also there's remind texts, and if you want to get on those remind texts, go onto the website, which a lot of stuff is on the website. So go to the website and you can get all this stuff there. So that's youthlife.lifecommunity.com. On there you can sign up for the remind, and if you scroll down to the bottom, we all have mug shots along with our emails, phone numbers, potentially social security numbers. Like everything you need to know about us is down there. You can get our access to everything about us there. So emails that'll come out once a week, texts on remind, get that on the website, and all of our contact info is on the website too.
Yeah. If you have questions about any of this, we're an open door at all those avenues, or at hello@lifecommunity.com. You can reach us there too. One thing we want to ask specifically for some like send us an email about this is if you'd say, hey, I can host a small group. Maybe I have
Backyard.
a backyard. Maybe I have a really big backyard and I'd like to host two at once. We'd definitely love to hear from you. So that's how you can send us questions, and we want your questions and any thoughts you have about any of this. Anything else, you guys?
No, it's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
I mean, I would say are you still rolling? We super appreciate you guys, and we love your kids so much, and it's been such a joy to still be able to connect with them through this time, and we hope that as we are able to do that in person and maybe at some of your homes, just that we can continue to get to know you guys, and like Jared said, just come alongside you and your family as we seek Jesus together. So thanks for letting us be a part of your kids' lives. We don't take it lightly, and it is a joy. It's a real joy. So.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it. I use the word joy about middle school boys. Like, love those boys. I love them all. Like that's the group I've gotten to hang with a little bit more lately. But yeah, a joy. You guys as kids are definitely a joy.
For sure.
See ya.
All one take.